Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Vandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadhilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam to all the viewers, every one of you that have joined with us today for this very special live stream. I know every one of you are as intrigued to know about the special awakening of DNA. What is the code for the superhuman DNA? Nithyanandam, Ma Ivana Grebner, Ma Kamala Munuswamy. Nithyanandam, nice to have you all here. All the viewers that are joining us, please feel free to interact with us on the comment section, whether you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. Please feel free to post your thoughts, questions, clicks, understandings, or experiences on the live chat or under the comment section. You can interact with us live through the whole show. And to all the participants and viewers that are watching us from across the globe, today what we are going to learn, the subject that we are going to learn is something very, very intriguing. Yesterday, all of us started to understand about DNA. We started to understand about the capacity of a human DNA. We also shed some light on what is the junk DNA, what the science understands as junk DNA, and Swamiji revealed to us about the Jivatman DNA and what happens to us when we awaken those strands of DNA, what science thinks is the junk DNA. Now, as we enter into today's show, a quick question. Did you know that awakening of your DNA increases the capacity of storage in your brain? Did you know that by awakening your DNA, you can increase the capacity of your brain? You can enhance the performance of your brain, the intelligence, the emotional quotient, the intelligent quotients, and then you can even enhance the cognitive ability of your brain. Today, there are multiple advanced scientific studies in using which they have measured the functional, what is the capability of the DNA, what the DNA can do. And some of the most astounding researches that have happened have clearly established how storing the data using DNA is going to be some of the most efficient way of storing it. A study by Latchester, Econoff, and Bradley Stelmay, which was published by the Scientific American, suggests that DNA storage is potentially less expensive, more energy efficient, and longer lasting than the normal data storage.
And the staggering amount of information that can be stored is inconceivable. Just understand this much. Consider this. Humanity will generate an estimated 33 zettabytes of data by 2025. That is 3.3 followed by 22 zeros. The DNA can squeeze all of that information into just a small ping pong ball. Understand this. And that also with a room to spare. So the 74 million bytes of information in the Library of Congress could be crammed into DNA archive, just the size of a poppy seed, which is 6,000 times over. So understand, we have a huge potential. Just the scientists that are trying to go and more deeper into understanding about the DNA researchers, why they are conducting these researches and trying to understand more, study the DNA more, because what fascinating things the DNA root stores is something like, if you start understanding and cognizing these, because now only scientists are trying to understand this. Yesterday we were sharing about the Gotras. Our ancient rishis had already mastered the science of how to store enormous data in one's DNA and through special initiation. Do you all know the Gayatri initiation that is done? The Gayatri mantra by itself is chanted so that a strand of DNA can be awakened in you. That's why they say when you keep chanting the Gayatri mantra more and more, Gayatri Devi literally manifests inside you and you will have immense knowledge awakened in you. Suddenly the Vedas start manifesting through you. How do you think that happens? It is through a very, very unique, specific process that is done, so using which your DNA strands can be awakened.
And actually, this entire awakening of DNA is given like significant importance in the Hinduism. Like she said, whether the Gayatri initiation or even the Punul, the sacred thread ceremony, the sacred thread that Hindus wear, even that represents the strands of DNA to awaken. A child, as soon as he or she is born, once he receives this initiation of Gayatri Diksha, is sent to the Gurukul, where the Guru initiates and awakens these dormant strands of DNA in him or her.
So it's something very important for us to understand. Now, let us go more into how the DNA is actually structured. I'm not going to take a biology class right now. I just wanted to share a small aspect of how it is structured. We know about the double helix structure, we know about the histones that are there, we know about all these, the physical level, whatever is there, we are familiar with it. We would have learned in our science classes and we would be familiar with that. Am I right? But what if I told you that the connection of DNA to your very consciousness exists and that exists inside of you? We talk about how the DNA is held together, what kind of molecules, the hydrophobic molecules that hold it together. All of these things we learn. But how it actually affects us, how the kind of things that we do in our day-to-day life actually has a direct impact on our DNA itself is something fascinating. There is something that connects your DNA with your consciousness. That is the closest connection of consciousness with matter. The Chit Jada Granthi. Chit, consciousness. Jada means matter. Granthi, the Chit Jada Granthi. Granthi means where they are literally bind together. So the Chit Jada Granthi, where the consciousness and the matter, the DNA and pure consciousness meets, is that place is actually held together through sound. Understand? Now the researchers have started proving what impact the sound has and how the sound directly impacts your very DNA layers.
And also, some of the most profound and interesting researchers have established how the physical matter around us responds to sound. We all know this concept of cymatics, right? How water or the elements of nature responds to sound, the sound vibrations. The words you utter has an impact. The sound you generate has an impact. And the most important thing for us to understand is the closest thing to consciousness is DNA. And something that binds your consciousness and DNA together is sound.
Now, let us watch a small excerpt from Swamiji's Satsang, where Swamiji speaks about this, where Swamiji reveals about this science.
I'll make few revelations. Some of the revelations I am making, science already understood. Some of the revelations I'm going to make now, science is yet to catch up, yet to realize it. But what I am saying is the ultimate truth from Paramashiva directly. This is the most powerful sacred secret I have ever revealed to the world. Listen to this carefully. Your DNA has some physical components like a sugar, so many other things. And they are kept together through water. Listen carefully. The DNA strands and your consciousness is kept together through sound. The different DNA strands kept together through water. DNA strands and consciousness is kept together through sound. And the kind of the sounds you use regularly inside and the kind of the sounds you stored inside matters, because through that sound your consciousness connects with the DNA and sends instruction, and DNA manifests your life. Listen carefully. So, if you want superconscious mutation, listen. Whether you are Kailasavasi or not, Sannyasi or not, Brahmachari or not, Grihastha or not, nothing matters if you allow the superconscious mutation in your life. Purpose of becoming Kailasavasi, Sannyasi, everything is only this one. Superconscious mutation. If you miss that goal, sannyas is useless. Actually, sannyas is nothing but moving towards a superconscious mutation. Whenever there is a lust happening in you, instead of allowing the soft delusory words to manifest in you, listen the word I am using, soft delusory words to manifest in you, use Mahavagya. Listen carefully. The soft delusory words are love idea. Hard delusory words are violence idea. The good news is you can reprogram, replace the old sounds through which your consciousness and DNA strands are tied together, connected together. The great news is you can use these 4 opportunities to do it easily. I'll give you the precise conclusion. Whenever you feel hungry, angry, lusty, sleepy, intensely reverberate your whole being with Mahavagya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. With the decision, let my being, let my consciousness manifest itself through my DNA using this Mahavagya as connection point. Let Mahavagya be the connective point. I tell you, immediately you will experience Kailasa. This Mahavagya is directly from Kailasa. Anyone who decides to use Mahavagya to connect your consciousness and DNA will have the ultimate superconscious mutation. You will manifest health, you will manifest wealth, you will manifest beautiful relationships, you will manifest blissful life, you will manifest knowledge, you will manifest Paramashiva Jnana, the ultimate powerful cognitions, and Paramashiva Vijnana, ultimate applied science of Paramashiva, and all the powers naturally. Understand? Your life is all about what kind of a connection your consciousness and DNA has. That's all. Chit Jata Kranti. Chit means consciousness. Jata means DNA. DNA is the closest matter which can have connection with consciousness. Chit Jata Granthi. The knot between the Chit and Jata. What is the material with which that knot is made? That sound. Sound is the material with which that knot is made. What kind of a sound made that knot? Listen, I'm repeating. If Mahavagya is the sound with which Chit and Jata is connected, you will have ultimate superconscious mutation. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you practice for a few days, whatever you gain will come with you forever, any number of births you take.
Yes. Swamiji revealed a very, very profound truth to all of us. How many of you even understood the importance of having the right sounds in your system? The words that we utter to ourselves, the thoughts that we constantly cherish. Like Swamiji said, even whenever you cherish the movie songs, the violent dialogues that happens in the movies, all of that becomes the sound that wraps around your DNA and consciousness together. And they create such a chaos in your system. Whenever you need to decide, your decision making abilities, all of them get influenced with this sound that you carry, you cherish in your inner space. And it's extremely important for us to understand what exactly happens, what kind of sound do we actually cherish, and how is it relevant? Why is it so important about understanding about our DNA? One of the most profound research about DNA, and most importantly, the past life connections, is documented by the National Geographic DNA Journey, and they call it the Genographic Project. So, in that, Ms. Deba Elms, a past life regression therapist, wrote that one of her clients, who was a 39-year-old woman, a computer engineer in Turkey, at the first meeting, she had mentioned to Ms. Elms that she found that she had an attraction to Russia since her childhood. And then she found herself as a woman in Russia in the first past life regression therapy. She then sent her DNA samples to the Genographic Project to National Geography, and the result showed that the origin of that DNA went to Russia. Please understand, in your DNA, the past life information is also stored. It doesn't end here. In the second, the past life regression therapy, this particular client found herself as a young woman in a small village, which she called as the Lapland. And she had been killed by German soldiers along with the entire village. And please understand, evidence later showed that Lapland was an area in Sweden in German, and the soldiers had killed all the people in Lapland in the late World War II. And again, the National Geographic Project showed her DNA was connected to lactate. Your DNA, the teeny tiny bit in our body, stores so much of information, is storing so much of data. And there's another beautiful research published by Dr. Jin Whittaker. In his book, he clearly establishes how the past life memories may exist in our everyday lives. He says, and we quote, child prodigies, for example, may have been acquired certain skills and talents to such high degrees in past life that those skills become deeply embedded in their consciousness. Our attitudes, beliefs, obsessions, compulsions, everything stems from the past lives. Even love, many times, relationships has been associated with the past life phenomenon. There are multiple studies. But why are we talking about this? Swamiji very beautifully tells that the intelligence that we build through the evolution, through all the struggles, the understandings, like how as a child, when you crawl and you try to stand up, you fall, you try to stand up, you fall, but you develop certain understanding from those experiences, correct? You develop a certain experience, you develop a certain intelligence, saying, okay, I have to not touch fire, it's hot, I should be careful when I walk on wet surfaces. That intelligence that you cherish or that you develop through the years of your growth, that is stored in your system, isn't it? That is applied, that's useful for you even today. Am I right? Now imagine the struggles, the work, the success, failures that you had through these evolution, through your past lives, are stored in your DNA. So the intelligence that you acquire in your past life can be awakened. And the interesting part is here, especially if you are a Hindu, if you have a Hindu DNA, all the intelligence that you acquire in the previous lives and that of those of your ancestors, all the enlightened masters at depths, is still stored in your DNA, and that can be awakened. By awakening this dormant DNA, what the science calls as junk DNA, and the science is trying to understand the utilities of this because the science believes strongly that it has a strong significant impact in our body. Swamiji calls that as the Jivatman DNA, which when awakened, the strands of which when awakened, is going to introduce to you completely new facets of yourself, including power manifestation, heightened intelligence, and your decision-making system. Everything is going to be enhanced.
Absolutely. I just wanted to add a point to this, and I also simultaneously wanted to answer Adrian Raphael. So he's asking a question: can I have a blessing for my ability to play the piano? Be awakened. The answer is yes. If you have had, like, for example, if that has been there in your biomemory, without even you practicing now, you, with the right initiation from the Guru, that possibility in you can be awakened. There are many people who, without, they would have not done certain things in their life before. Like, take an example of Swamiji. Like when Swamiji was just 4 years old in Tiruvannamalai temple, for the first time Swamiji was taken to like the gatherings where the Ramayana and all are told. And for the first time, when the person was chanting, Swamiji was automatically able to chant it. And this is not the first time a demonstration like this has been done. We have seen many of the great enlightened beings, even before, who have had expressed different possibilities through them. Where, like, without even you knowing that before or previously thought that before, you, with just the right initiation, you will just be able to chant certain things or play certain things, dance in a certain way. Whatever abilities are there in you can be awakened. that's the most unique thing about the DNA. One of the most fascinating things about DNA and how the ability, the knowledge in your DNA can be available. I know it's like, wow, is this true? But yes, this is true. This has been something that our rishis have really become adepts in. Then other civilizations were busy trying to, break stones to make tools. Our ancestors had been so advanced that they were busy in encoding the level.
And
I see a comment saying somebody named Daru has posted saying Swamiji is Lord. Yes, it is not just because Swamiji is an avatar, but because this is the possibility that every one of us have. Understand? For example, let's say you are having, your past births, whatever possibilities you are having in your biology, your DNA. And in the present birth, like for example, let's say your father is having a certain ability and your mother is having certain ability, or your grandfather had certain ability. Let's say that your grandfather was a very good businessman. Okay. Now, that same possibility can be awakened inside of you. Suddenly, without you putting an effort, I'm not saying you should not work hard. Please be clear, you should work hard. But the ability, the knowledge, the skills in you can be awakened. You can consciously work to excel in that further. You don't need to start from scratch. There was a kid in the Gurukul, and he had never learned flute. He had never actually learned flute. Just after one initiation, Swamiji was saying very casually something that every knowledge, anything in the world, you have the ability to easily download it. Swamiji was expanding on the science of it. And this kid, I think he was only 11 years old at that time. He went to this storeroom where all these different equipments, everything was kept. And he saw the flute and he just picked it up and said, okay, Swamiji had told this is the satsang. And Swamiji has also given an initiation to it. Now let me experiment with it, play with it. And he took the flute and just started playing. In a matter of minutes, he was able to actually play the flute on his own. We've seen kids playing a veena like this, guitar like this.
Even learning instruments, so many random instruments that they've never had introduction to, like pianos and kids, like she said, veena. And there are so many kids in Gurukul that could listen to any audio for the first time, any kind of music, and without practice, they have the ability to replicate that music through that instrument. But how is all this possible? Is this because of practice? It's just the power of initiation. You don't need to have some kind of expertise over something. You don't need to be adept at something. But through the power of initiation, this knowledge can be transmitted. Swamiji reveals a very important truth here. This education system in Hinduism was centered upon transmitting or embedding, encoding the knowledge in the DNA. That is why all the people, if you see whether the great kings, archers, or all astrologies, or if it's even just the Thapatis, all of them, they train the children in such a way that this knowledge is directly embedded, encoded in their DNA. Even now, the Gotra system, if you see the lineage, that's why it's so important in Hinduism, the relationships or the marriages happening within a particular lineage is so important because the rishis have encoded this knowledge in the DNA system. When you go to a Rajput, the kind of DNA that they have, or a Maratha, the kind of a DNA that they have, or the Pandyas, Cholas, and Cheras, the kind of DNA that they have, everyone, your lineage, your tradition, the knowledge, intelligence is passed down through this DNA. That is why, unfortunately, that is the reason why even the women of Hinduism became a prime target during all the invasions, because they wanted to steal this DNA, this highly intelligent and advanced DNA of Hinduism.
Yes, Nithyanandam, I see many more viewers that are joining us. Nithyanandam, to Manikandan and Sachin, Lalit Srivatsa, Nithyanandam, and Nithyanandam to all the others who are joining us. And Manikandan, you have asked saying that I also can play any instruments. That is great. See, there are two things. One is as your own, like when you become an adept in a music, in a particular thing, in any instrument, once you become an adept in that, you starting to have the ability to play any instrument is something like a natural possibility you have. Sometimes some things, without even you having the introduction to it, you will be able to play those instruments or perform those things, like perform those arts. Are you understanding it? So that is what we are talking about. Nithyananda Masuzen, Davidson, Maya Huang, and Saradi Subaya. Nithyanandam, nice to have all of you here.
Yes. Now, all the viewers, as we are all watching, let's understand a little bit more about the significance of why we need to awaken these strands of DNA. You may think, oh, I have a proper life, I think I'm intelligent enough, or I think I can learn things if I need. But what exactly is the significance of awakening DNA? Is that going to be a lengthy process? Is that going to be something that's long lasting? Is that going to be something simple? Is it going to be complicated? You may have 100 such questions running in you. But the answer for this is very simple. Before we enter into the answer itself, it's important for us to understand why do we need to awaken it. Understand there are two things. When your deeper strands of DNA, the more strands of DNA gets awakened in you, you will have a complete freedom to live or to choose a certain ability or aspect of yourself. How many of you watched shows like Heroes or the Mutants? Yes, you have seen, right? Whether it's X-Men, Harry Potter, or the Heroes, you've seen how each of them manifest these powers. Of course, in the movies, they're depicted fictional characters, but we see how each of them, they're able to mutate themselves. Like they can pass through things, or they can travel through time. There are different such abilities that these mutants can manifest, isn't it?
Actually,
Now,
yeah, sorry, I just wanted to address this one comment. I just wanted to say, Lalit Shri Vatsa Chaudhary, I just wanted to say that what right now you can see we are in a live stream and we are talking this from out of our individual free will, right? I just wanted to make that clear. I just wanted to register that here because I am in a public live stream. I'm reading out your comment and I'm absolutely free and I'm here talking to you out of my individual free will.
and also just to add to it, Lalit Srivatsav Chaudhary, see, please understand our decision of sannyas, or actually women being able to live the life of sannyas with freedom, is the ultimate freedom. Understand, today, if society, a girl at 16 or 17 talks about boyfriends or girlfriends, you may call it freedom. But is that the real freedom? At the age of 16 and 17, we are given the knowledge to learn how to walk free from depression. We are given the knowledge so that we can empower people to live a life more blissful, more happier. So when you are passing a comment, I just request you to take a few minutes to reanalyze or revisit your comment, revisit your understanding.
Absolutely. And we both are young women, and we are here from without any of these things impacting us, right? We are here without any influence of any kind of what the outer world is having. We do not go through depression. We do not go through any of those negative things, and we are here helping people and even helping people to walk out of the depression. This is the kind of best life that Swamiji has guided each and every one of us.
So, yes, so coming back to this topic on understanding about DNA. So, what happens is when you awaken the DNA, these deeper strands of DNA, when you keep awakening it, you will have the ability to pick and choose and design these features in you. Like I was explaining about the mutants, you will have the ability to radiate extraordinary powers. Your third eye can be awakened by awakening the DNA. And you will have the freedom about the length of your life. You will have the freedom about your physical features. You will have not just the freedom, you will also have the intelligence to make the right choices. You will start experiencing anti-aging. There are so many such abilities. Many of us would have seen enlightened masters and adepts in Hinduism who would have lived for hundreds of years. Mahavatar Babaji had a very normal upbringing in his initial years. Even anyone from any walk of life can experience this awakening. Even Mahavatar Babaji, when he met his guru and he received the initiation, he did the tapas, achieved enlightenment, and achieved immortality. He was not born that way, right? I'm saying this just to help us understand that everyone, all normal human beings from every walk of life can experience this awakening. It's a possibility open for every one of us. And with that possibility, you could manifest some of the extraordinary powers. You can awaken it and apply it in your day-to-day life. So let us watch another quick video where Swamiji is going to be explaining to us about awakening the deeper strands of DNA. And we are going to be also listening to a lot of revelations on this important aspect of it. And Masuze, see, please understand, you can get the power to create the reality the way you want. And you're saying, can I get the power to mutate my husband? See, Ma, in Hinduism, we never, fundamentally, the fundamental thought current of Hinduism itself is we never believe in going and coercing someone on something. That's why Hinduism never entertained or believed the concept of conversion. It is purely enriching based. So yes, you will get the ability to enrich your husband in such a way that you will be able to gift him the best of his life. Alex is asking, I did not, Alex, I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. We will have it attended to you and you will definitely be able to get the details. So please, I apologize for you. Please accept our sincere apologies. I request you to sign up once more today and immediately you will have the people, the KAILASA Vasis will reach out to you and you will be able to attend. And once again, I apologize for it, for the inconvenience caused. Please just go to paramashivoham.org and I request if you could register for one last time. And there must have been some error, I'm sure. So if you could please register once more here, we'll make sure you are attended to today and we'll make sure all the required steps are taken. Yes. So today, as all of us are here understanding about awakening of the DNA, another last point that I quickly wanted to share about is when you awaken the strands of DNA, the intense awareness directly leads you to awakening on the deeper strands of DNA. So it becomes like a virtuous cycle. And when the master initiates you, the initiation process awakens this DNA through you. And we have had multiple researchers that has established how the DNA gets awakened in us when we get the initiation, receive the initiation from Swami.
And I also just wanted to add to this, all of you that are here who are asking whether your DNA can be awakened, and if you can start like changing how your DNA is. See, the very term when I say changing your DNA it just feels very fancy, right? What I actually mean is, like what Swamiji explained in the video that we watched, sound is that one thing that connects consciousness with your DNA. Sound. When we have heard the experiment by Dr. Emoto, how when different sounds are when a small glass of water is being exposed to different sounds, how the crystal structures of them completely change. We saw them. 70% of our human body is made up of water. This is the thing that we have understood. Like then how the words and thoughts can actually impact us. What we need to understand is it goes way more deeper. And there are certain times when your biomemory is more accessible to you than any other normal time. Like for example, whenever you are probably hungry, whenever you are very sleepy, all these times your biomemory is more accessible. Even when you're angry, your biomemory is more accessible for you. In those times, if you consciously, see when you're extremely hungry, before you go and fill your stomach, just take a moment and chant Mahavakya. What happens is that it works till your biomemory level. Let us just listen to a small excerpt from Swamiji's satsang, where Swamiji reveals about this sign.
Through sound, your consciousness and DNA is tied together. Wrong, toxic patterns, toxic ideas, life negative ideas, when they enter into your DNA, when they become the connecting force between your consciousness and DNA, you will suffer in life in multiple ways. If the right sound is the connecting force between consciousness and DNA, the superconscious mutation happens, you just manifest Paramashiva. I tell you, Swalpamapyasya dharmasya drayate mahato bhayat. Even if you practice very little, huge problems will be destroyed. This method. This science. Again, I am repeating Bhagavad Gita. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you practice for a few days, whatever you gain will come with you forever, any number of births you take. Understand? Your life is all about what kind of a connection your consciousness and DNA has. That's all. Chit Jatak Kranti. Chit means consciousness. Jata means DNA. DNA is the closest matter which can have connection with consciousness. Chit Jata Granthi. The knot between the Chit and Jata. What is the material with which that knot is made? That sound. Sound is the material with which that knot is made. What kind of a sound made that knot?
You can now choose what kind of songs you want to have. How are you planning to, like transform those knots in the DNA level? Chanting Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham is one of the most powerful ways. Literally, Swamiji has programmed it such that you can completely transform yourself. And I see that someone has asked for a body scanning. Ravi Vemulavada, Nithyanandamaya, if you are still here, please leave a comment. And if you would still like to have a body scanning, so I think I missed a comment. If you would like to have a body scanning, please post it here and I can do the scanning for you. And this body scanning is a sign, one of the many gifts that Swamiji has gifted to humanity, where just through the power of your third eye, you will have the ability to scan your body or another person's body, where directly through the power of the third eye, you will start seeing the internal organs or the sources of the diseases. You don't even need to know who the other person is, like their background. You don't need to know anything. Just through the power of the third eye, you will start seeing what are the issues the other person is facing, and you will also have the ability to heal the other person. If you are here and you still want to experience the body scanning, feel free to post it in the comment section. We are almost nearing then. I think it's already beyond the time. We are going to be entering into the satsang, where we are going to be listening from Swamiji about awakening of DNA. Since I don't see a comment, so I'm just going to go ahead now. We are going to enter into the satsang where Swamiji is going to be revealing about the DNA. And now, if you want to learn more about this, you can go ahead and register in the link that is shown. Tomorrow onwards, we are going to have a special course, a free special course, which is exclusively available only for the people that have signed up in this link, where you will be taught specific kriyas, meditation techniques, and powerful cognitions, which will help you to dwell deeper into your being and for you to have awakening inside of you. It's completely free and you can take a moment now and go ahead and register. The link is shown to you on the screen. It's paramashivoham.org. Please take a minute now and register. Nithyanandam, Taylor, Albright. Nice to see you also. Nithyanandam, Lakshman, and Brian, Sarati Subbaya, Nithyanandam, to all of you. You all can take a few minutes, go ahead and register in the link that is shown to you on the screen. Now with this, let's all listen to the revelation from Swamiji.
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Today's subject is activate your DNA and live long. Few Shastra Pramana, eternal truths about DNA activation and anti-aging. A research by Caroline from Galactic Foundation. They have a website, galacticfoundation.com. They say dormant DNA activation activates the dormant portions of the brain. Average person with one strand of activated DNA use only 10% of brain capacity. So DNA activation increases the capacity of the brain, and this is one truth, how the activation of DNA, the second strand, third strand, the next strands activates the capacity of brain. There is another one research, Dr. Rick Strassman states, so his research says DNA activation in turn activates the pineal gland, Anya Chakra, located in the middle of the brain at the back of the third eye region. It is called seat of the soul. Inside the pineal gland is the master cell, which is the master key to all our functions, from color of our hair to the way we wiggle our feet. Beth Coleman, his research. This master cell in the pineal gland has the youth and vitality chromosomes responsible for aging process. Activation of this gland leads to increase in melatonin secretion responsible for anti-aging. Melatonin is anti-aging hormone. And there is another one research, Wellness Research Foundation. They say telomere is a portion of DNA that governs an aging process. Each time when a cell divides through the course of evolution, a small portion of this telomere is not copied to the other cells, making them shorter and shorter over time. This is the cause for aging. Aging is defined as per the science. I will define aging as per the consciousness. I will add my own experience on this line. There is another one beautiful research conclusion, by Philip D. Minton and Mr. Alciard. He says, telomerase is an immortality enzyme that controls aging process by rebuilding the telomerase. But gene controlling this telomerase is switched off. Activation of telomerase enzyme leads to anti-aging. So these are some of the Shastra Pramanas, means the Pramanas from the ancient rishis or modern rishis. Now I will add Atma Pramana, my experience, to what it is. So it can be a Apta Pramana for you. The more and more life is added to your life, more strands of DNA is awakened. If the more strands of DNA is awakened, I always tell people life has to be measured by depth, not by length. Life needs to be measured by depth, not by length. What Vivekananda did just in 9 years of his public life, you can't comprehend. What Shankara did just by 32 years of his life, you can't comprehend. Means more strands of DNA is awakened in them. You may think, oh, I am talking about DNA and anti-aging, but they all live very short. Understand? It is not that they can't live, they did not want to live. There are two things. When your deeper, more strands of DNAs are awakened, you will have a complete freedom to live or not to live. Understand? I am not all for living long. I am all for you having freedom to live long or not to live long. I am not saying you should live long or you should die quickly. No. But human beings should have a freedom to decide his death. He should be Ichcha Mrityu. Means when you desire, you should leave the body. When the deeper strands of DNA, more strands of DNA is awakened, you will have first thing, depth in life. Second, freedom about length in life. Understand? If you don't have depth, length can be torture sometime. I have seen people who have a healthy body but not a healthy mind, suffering in the old age in the depression. That's the worst punishment. Live long only by matured mind. Let the anti-aging happen by the maturity of the mind, maturity of the inner space. Not just physical strength. Let it happen by mental strength, then the life is worthy. Then the life is worthy. So come on, let me come to the subject of DNA and anti-aging. Every moment is given birth by the present moment. Next moment takes birth from the present moment. Next moment takes birth from that moment. If only one DNA strand is awakened in you, you are more matter, material. Constantly you will associate yourself with matter. Matter means what? Fear and greed base. So naturally, if this moment you feel yourself more as a body, the thought which is mixed with this moment, you see, the life is time and space. This moment is the time. The thought which is mixed with this moment is space. If this is based on fear and greed, next moment will be more tired than this moment. The next moment will be little more tired than this moment. Please understand how the tiredness is added moment by moment by your mind. If you feel you are a matter, naturally the fear and greed will be there in your inner space. So this moment, the time and fear and greed, these two is the mixture of your life at this moment. So the next moment is given birth from this moment, naturally that will also carry the fear and greed. One step more. One unit more. So naturally from that next moment takes birth. Again, one unit more fear and greed. So the more fear and greed gets added every moment. That is what the scientists are saying, that let me give you the exact scientific research. the telomere, the portion of DNA that governs the aging process. Each time when a cell divides through a course of evolution, a small portion of this telomere is not copied to other cells, making them shorter and shorter over time. Means from one cell to the other, the whole thing is not copied. Naturally, when the matter interferes, the pure space gets reduced. Please understand, the more you feel as fear and greed, the pure space gets reduced. Only the fear and greed gets transmitted. So the quantity of matter becomes more and the quantity of consciousness is less in the transmission. So naturally, every moment you feel more and more tired. I tell you, actually when you live consciously through mind, more you have experience, more it becomes wisdom. When you live unconsciously with the mind, more you live, more it becomes boredom. Whether your life is getting into the wisdom or boredom is dependent on the consciousness with which you are pushing your mind. Same way, whether you are aging or anti-aging is dependent on the way in which your consciousness is pushing your body. Please understand. If you are consciously living with your mind, every happening adds wisdom. It becomes experience, part of your intelligence. If you are unconsciously moving with fear and greed, every incident adds boredom. Oh God, one more desire, one more fear. Wisdom or boredom is dependent on the consciousness behind your mind. Same way, aging or anti-aging is dependent on the consciousness behind your body. If every moment your body handles fear and greed, you feel you are a matter, and next moment is given birth from this moment of fear and greed, naturally it leads to aging. Or if you feel with awareness, I tell you, if you can handle last 20 years of breathing, heartbeat, liver function, digestion, by now you should have become master of that. It should be more easy, more comfortable for you. So naturally, more number of years you live, you should be more experienced and more healthy. See the reality. See, for example, if you are driving for many number of years, you are supposed to be expert driver. Same way, if you are digesting for many number of years, you are supposed to be expert in digestion. If you are seeing many number of years through eyes, you are supposed to be expert in seeing. So with consciousness, you are supposed to be getting expertise. So you are supposed to be anti-aging by years. Grow younger. It is because of unconscious beliefs you carry, delivered to you by society, and unconscious fear and greed you carry, which is responsible for telomere not being copied completely to the next cell. The small portion of this telomere is not copied to the other cells, making them shorter and shorter. Means the consciousness or the life portion is not transmitted completely. Why? Because that every moment takes birth from fear and greed. When the fear and greed is the womb, naturally it becomes more and more matter, less and less consciousness. Understand two things. If you are living with clear awareness, witnessing consciousness, every incident happens in front of you becomes wisdom for your mind. Hey, now I know how to handle this situation. Wow. Now I am expert in handling. Consciously, if you deal the situations, you become expert. Whether your body or mind, if it consciously handles, witnessing consciously handles all the situation, two things will happen. Your mind will have wisdom, your body will have the anti-aging process. If you handle it unconsciously with fear and greed, deeply settled in matter, rooted, caught in matter, your mind gets boredom. So awakening the next strands of DNA directly leads you to awareness. The intense awareness directly leads you to the awakening of deeper strands of DNA. But it's a vicious circle. Understand? It's a vicious circle. When you try to awaken the DNA, you feel you don't have enough awareness. If you try to have enough awareness, you feel enough strands of DNA is not awakened. How to break the vicious circle? That is where the role of the master's play comes in. That is where the master's role comes in. Transmission of lamp is needed. Person whose all strands of DNA is awakened can easily, physically transmit and awaken your next level strands of DNAs. Second, third, fourth, fifth. If only one strand of your DNA is awakened, you can easily awaken at least next 5. If already 3 is awakened in you, you can easily activate next 10. Sorry, totally 12. Next 9. You can activate the whole thing. So pushing you to the next level happens by initiation. That is what exactly I am doing in inner awakening. Taking you step by step. First, removing all the fear engrams. Then greed engrams. Then deeper engrams related to matter. Removing the mud in which you are stuck, and through initiation awakening all strands of DNA, so that you can have wisdom and anti-aging. Grow younger. Please understand, growing older is the worst crime done to the humanity by the ancient civilizations. Do not live in a village where people live very short span of life. Bernard Shaw, suddenly at the age of 90, he left his place where he was living all his life. All his friends, family, relatives, the nostalgical, memorious places, everything he left and went away to a place where people live for a long time. They asked, why? What happened to you? He says, no. I should be in a place constantly where I am reminded human age is not 100. He's right. So go and be in a place somewhere constantly these truths are taught. You don't need to grow in boredom. You don't need to be aging. Where people are growing younger and growing in wisdom. Growing in wisdom, growing younger. If you have that kind of a community, at least spend 21 days a year. Ramakrishna says, if you drink too much of arak, drink at least half a liter of rice water. That effect of the alcohol in the body, the arak in the body will go away. So if you live in the society where people grow old and get into boredom, At least 21 days live in a place where people grow younger and grow in wisdom. That is why exactly I designed the Inner Awakening program for 21 days, to give them the experience of growing younger and growing in wisdom. The Inner Awakening is specially designed to awaken the deeper strands, next level strands of your DNA. First, removing fear and greed. Second, making you free from time. Third, making your inner space pure, so that every moment takes birth out of pure and pure inner space. The telomere is completely reproduced, not only completely reproduced little more than what it was. Adding. So every cell gives birth to a better cell. Nowadays the machineries have come, they themselves can produce the next generation machinery. More precious, more perfect, with more precision and more perfection, without human touch. They can just automatic machineries, they can make more precision machineries, more perfect than them. So what will happen? The next generation, the more generation the machineries are moved, naturally more precision and perfect machineries are going to come out. Same way, once the pure consciousness is activated in you, at least 5 strands of DNA is activated in you, naturally the more conscious movement will be given birth from this conscious movement. So the aging process is reversed. That's what I mean, grow younger and grow in wisdom, not in boredom. You can't speak much about it because it is a process. See, as a technique I can give, practice awareness, but I myself know you can't practice, because unless the DNA is awakened, you can't become aware. Unless you become aware, DNA can't be awakened. You are caught. So the only solution is transmission of lamp, initiation. That happens only in the Master's presence. And when Master works on it, on you, step by step, I think we can do some of the scientific researches and prove solidly how when the fear and greed is removed from a person, how when the pure consciousness is added to the person, simply the next strands of DNA gets activated. We will be able to prove. So I think that is the only solution. Once we prove, naturally people will be interested in the process with the Master. So process with the Master, Upanishad, process with the Master is the only way for growing younger and growing in wisdom. The inner awakening will awaken the DNA. I think I can name it as DNA awakening. Inner DNA awakening. Inner awakening leads to DNA awakening, and that naturally leads to more awareness, growing younger and growing in wisdom. I bless you all to experience inner awakening by the Upanishad, sitting with the Master, and the community which is growing younger and growing in wisdom, and achieve and radiate enlightenment. Let you all achieve and radiate enlightenment. Let you all achieve and radiate the eternal bliss. Nithyananda. Thank you.
smell. I up to you, Swami Nithyananda. All that I see, all that I hear, I up to you, Swami Nithyananda. That is dance, and this song, and this joy, I surrender to you. All that I feel, all that I am, I up to you, Swami Nithyananda. Karunavataram, samsara saram, bhujahindakaram, sadasandam, hridayarvinde, bhavam bhavani, sahitam namami. All of my dreams,